Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to talk about VCT Pacific Kickoff for the play-ins and playoffs results. If you haven't seen my group stage results video, it'll be up here so you can have a watch it for yourself and then come back here to look at the playoffs and the play-ins results. So let's first get started with the play-ins results. And here are the play-ins results. So first started with GENG versus Team Secret. It was a 2-1 victory for GENG against Team Secret. 13-5 on Breeze for Team Secret, and 39 on Lotus, and 15-13 on Icebox. For GENG, Jeremy was MVP first for Team Secret on Breeze, while Meteor on Munchkin the NGO was MVP on Lotus and Icebox. So that basically gave a pretty good cushion for GENG, as I'm pretty sure they were first, Team Secret was leading third, Z Division has still not played, but they got absolutely manhandled by Team Secret. I don't know what happened to Z Division. I mean, I had so much high hope for Z Division. They were pretty good in Group A. Yes, they were against Global and Bleed, but still, I had high hopes for Zeta. I mean, they played pretty decently. I mean, against C1, so I thought, hell, I thought Zeta was going to do it. No, they didn't. They didn't do well whatsoever. Only won on a total of 9 maps in this match. 13-1 on Icebox and 13-8 on Ascent. Jeremy and Envy, both of them were MVP. It was an absolute bloodbath. So I'm very, very disappointed on how Zeta Division performed because I expect a lot more from them. I expected them to at least either win one game of play-ins or make it to the playoffs via play-ins, because there's no way that they were actually going to beat T1. So I am very disappointed in Z Division. I just thought better of them, but apparently I didn't. I was too high on them, and that basically caused them. I mean, they just absolutely shat the bed. But either way, we move on, and they also shat the bed here against GENG. It was so bad. Zeta, they were running pretty well in Group A, and then they just flopped. And GENG, with their win as well against Z Division, even though Team Sick was hoping and praying for Z Division to win against GENG, that didn't come to fruition whatsoever, as they got 2-0'd by GENG. 13-6 on Icebox, 13-4 on Ascent, and both maps went to Meteor as the MVP. So Zeta and Seeker, both of them were out, while GENG was the final team to make it into play, and it's basically making it 3 Koreans against 1 Singaporean. So let's now move over now to the playoffs, and this time I'm going to be using VLR because I wanted to talk about it more in depth with stats and numbers, all of that jazz. So let's first start off with the first semifinals, that being the Sacento rivalry or derby, however you want to call it. Obviously, T1 versus Paper Rex, Execute versus Forsaken, older brother versus younger brother, you know, all that other stuff. So basically, as you can tell, it was a 2-0 victory for Paper Rex against T1. I'll be honest, not really surprising there. Paper Rex are just a much better team than T1 in my opinion. Maybe not really structured, but play style a bit, considering of how aggressive Paper Rex are. And speaking of the Sacento brothers, Forsaken, he was just on fire on this match. I mean, makes sense. It's against his older brother of Execute, who actually played pretty well. I mean, he was on the Astra, which I never thought I would ever see him on Astra, but he was still pretty good. So either way, I think Execute should be pretty happy with that. Rossi doing very, very well, and I'm not really surprised Carpe's down there. He's the IGL, so it makes sense. I'm more worried about Munyet, because I swear he's been negative for every single time when he's on raids. But I'll be honest, stats, it doesn't really matter if you're negative or anything, but mainly depends on how you play and stuff. So I'm guessing Munyet, he was just mainly the entry player, entering every single time it kept dying, so he's just getting info basically for his team. So he's actually, to be fair, he's actually given off quite a lot of impact to his team. So split went to overtime, I think triple overtime, 16-14 for Paper Rex. They used this weird triple duelist comp. Triple duelist. Now remember when Talent Esports came out with a freaking quadruple comp, I think last year against DRX, and we definitely know that was definitely from a scrum that was not thrown whatsoever. So I mean, they did this, and it surprisingly kind of worked. I mean, it definitely threw T1 off guard, I mean, T1, they were playing like the usual, like double controller, Astra and Viper. And I don't know about the Astra. I feel like a Brim might be better here. But either way, or even Harper Viper if you're over in America. But still, I mean, they was using a normal double controller, double duelist, which is kind of normal in Pacific because I swear Pacific hates Sentinel. They never play Sentinels, I swear, other than Chamber. That's really all. But Paper X, they were cooking so hard that they legit were like, you know what, let's just throw Yoru in here on split, which actually went pretty well. So I mean, if it works, I guess. And Ascend was a bit more normal. I say a bit more normal, considering that it wasn't the normal composition that people, you know, like most teams will use. Like KO, Omen was a Jet, Killjoy. It wasn't that. It was like Gecko from something. There was a Fade from Forsaken, which I never thought I would ever see. Fade actually from both teams on Carpe as well. It was a weird one. I mean, Paper X, they had a double controller, double initiator comp with a Razor the Duelist, and a T1, they had like basically a pretty standard one. I mean, a Viper Omen controller. That's that's fine. That's actually like a relatively tame comp on a sense, other than the basically just the like the normal composition that most teams use. This one, I mean, they're both teams are cooking, but Paper X were basically cooking more than T1, in my opinion. Expo did actually go pretty well on Cypher, so that's okay, but Paper X, they were just on a different level, really. I mean, it just makes sense. Performance-wise, though, in all maps, it was an 8 from Devi and 2 4Ks as well. 1 from Rossi and 1 from Forsaken. So Paper X moves over. Next up, it was the battle of the Korean teams, DRX versus GENG, and it was a 2-0 victory for GENG. This was a massive surprise even for me, because I had little to no hope for GENG because I thought they were going to flop just like they did last year, and I just had no faith in them and I gave up on them. But they surprised me, especially one Charon player. He was an unknown project, an unknown rookie coming into Tier 1 basically. He was legit he was legit in a team called No 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 in Korea, and he played Duelist. This is his first time playing on controller, and he actually impressed me so much. Maka was the only player to even go positive, at least in DRX, and that's just how much DRX just boomed in this match. They were just so boomed out, mainly because of Charon and Texture. Those two were the class acts on GENG. Bayern went to overtime once, 14-12 for the side of GENG, and like I said, Charon, Texture, both of them absolutely popping off. Buzz using the Yoru, which is really weird, considering that Yoru was the only duelist there. I mean, if I was DRX, I would have maybe, I don't know, gotten another duelist, but I mean, they're putting Fox 9 on Flex for just a reason. Double controllers over the Brim. Other than that, it's kind of normal. And GENG is just maybe the most normal comp I've ever seen in my life, but it worked because Buzz was on Yoru. And then 13-8 on Lotus as well. Once again, I mean, it was just a normal comp. Omen Viper on Lotus, kind of normal as well. Omen Viper, kind of normal as well for GENG with a Killjoy, thanks to Meteor, which I love. I'm so happy. I'll be honest, I'm happy that Meteor's off Duelist and Texture's full-time Duelist. I think that Texture's a better Duelist than Meteor, in my opinion, because Meteor doesn't really overheat. He can't really overheat if he's playing Sentinel or another role other than Duelist. I know that he sometimes plays the Duelist, I'm fine with that, but I'm just glad that he's flexing onto mainly Sentinel and basically what other roles that the team wants. I'm happy that he's on the flex role. I'm just very happy about that. He can still sometimes play the Jet, but he would be playing other characters like the Killjoy, or even on mine, for example, he played Cypher, which actually he was pretty decent at. So I'm happy that he's playing other stuff, because I'll be honest, I think he overheated a little too much when he was playing on the Duelist role. Stuff-wise, Buzz actually got a 5k, got an ace, and a 4 4Ks actually. One from Lakia, one from Texture, and 2 from Charon, and also a 1v3 clutch win as well from Buzz. Now for the grand final. We already know that Paper X and GENG, they have locked themselves into Masters Madrid. But who was the winner? It was GENG. Who saw that coming? Well, definitely the GENG fans, because they had so much faith in Texture. and Charon, and I can completely understand why. Mind Freak was decent. Something was, I mean, he was alright. I mean, I think he was the only Paper X player to actually get MVP when they won in the second map, which I'll get into later. Divide kind of overheated. Forsaken definitely overheated, and I'm guessing Munya was just giving off information, but I don't really know. But the main act once again was Charon texture. There's a reason why Charon was the grand final MVP as well. I mean, I think it could. I mean, I think it should have been brought to texture just because of how hard he played. How hard, like he was just like he was all right on global. Let's just be honest. He was just all right on global. I mean, there was definitely some moments from him as well that could pop off, but they used him horribly on global. I mean, he didn't even play a single time on Duelist, I swear. I think like he would like flex onto like Killjoy and stuff. Like it was just horrible. But now that he's on full-time Duelist, he can now show that he belongs on Duelist and he doesn't belong to be on a fucking Killjoy on Cypher, you dumbasses, global esports knobs. Anyways, so that's another time. But either way, Charon, the young Pro J who once again has never played controller up until he joined GENG, was phenomenal. Now IGL Munchkin had some great moments, and Meteor and Lakia, they were just decent. I mean, they weren't the best, they weren't the worst, they were just decent. They were alright, which is a good sign for GENG. Paper X, they were just fluctuating up and down, up and down, up and down. Ascent first, 13-5 for GENG. Texture dominated. Charon was really good. Munchkin as well. Everyone from GENG was super, super good. Split, though, went to Paper X, and that was when they did that triple Duelist comp, which once again worked. Something got MVP, I'm pretty sure, on this map. Shout out to Charon as well, who tried to counter it. Double controller, double Duelist, with a Sky as the initiator for GENG. Not too bad, I'll be honest. I mean, they definitely are basically showing us that you don't really need a Sentinel. Hell, if Paper X are using triple Duelist, I'm guessing Yoru is the quote-unquote initiator in this comp, Viper and Omen as the controllers. You should be fine of running 5 Duelists, right? I heard that. I'm just praying that actually happens at some point in a professional match. Lotus 13-11, this was a very, very close game. Munchkin had some great moments in this map, I'm pretty sure, where he did like 4K, I think, at some point as well, so that was great by Munchkin. Texture was just kind of quiet here. Chiron had some good moments, Lackey had some good moments as well. Divide was alright, but I mean, something on the Reyna was definitely a curveball, but that's really all. And then the bind, where they just basically plucked this out of DRX comp with a raise, which I quite like. I quite like that they have a raise now, so that's a good sign. But I mean, it just didn't really work out there. I mean, GENG, they were just completely different. They just dipped Paper X as a whole. I feel like when we get, when we got into like the second half at least, I could tell that their mental just boomed instantly. I mean, when they lost the pistol round, they just didn't care anymore. I mean, they were close a couple times, like on the final one, where Forsake pretty sure had like a judge or something. Well, actually no, I'm pretty sure he had like a guardian or something. He was trying to flank, but then Texture read it perfectly and killed him. So I could tell that they were just mentally boomed and they just wanted to end the game. But yeah, it's just I'm really excited to see how GENG goes in the international stage. I'll be honest. I mean, they have great pieces. They have Texture full-time Duelist, which I love. And they have Meteor on the flex, which I also quite like. Charon as the controller. Munchkin as the IGO, who's bringing some nice and great ideas and if Munchkin can read Paper X perfectly, then I think GENG are going to be really, really good. Definitely, I think, a top 3 team. And Lakia as well as the veteran player who hasn't played on the quote-unquote, basically in a Masters event for 3 years. The last time was in Masters Reykjavik, like the first Masters event. And for him to come back into Masters this year in 2024 with GENG is amazing. I'm really, really excited to see how he goes. Performance-wise, though, not really a lot, I'll be honest. I mean, a couple 4Ks mainly. Something. Both of them got 4Ks each. Munchkin got 1, Meteor got 1, and Texture got 3 4Ks. And even a 1v3 clutch win as well from Munya for the side of Paper X. Now this is the time where I get to laugh at my own pickems, and I didn't do too well. I got 80 points. not the majority at least, but still pretty bad. And we'll get into the simulations first. But I got T1's run right, other than Zeta Division qualifying. I was not expecting that. But either way, actually, no, never mind. No, never mind. No, yeah. I had Bleed qualifying because I have so much faith in Bleed, and then it just flop. Group B, DRX, they qualified. Team C qualifies. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Talon and Governor to be that hot off the gate. And Group C, which is a dumpster fire, I only got Paper X correct, and I thought RIQ was going to do well because I had no faith in Gen G, and look how that ended. For the play-ins, Team Secret winning against Zeta Division, that didn't happen. I had Gen G winning against Team Secret, which happened, but then I had Zeta Division winning against Gen G. I had so much faith in Zeta Division that I legit think that they were going to make the playoffs. Yes, I think that they were going to be eliminated instantly, but I had so much faith in Zeta Division, and that did not happen. And in the playoffs, I only had Paper X winning against T1. That's really all. So that was a bit of a disappointment one, and I only got 80 points. Now the simulation, I think, in my calculations, this is the first time that the simulation has actually done better than me. So the simulation got 95 points. I only got 80. Oh boy, I am not doing well. Group A was actually all correct, actually, other than the cider. Global Esports, that was correct, so that was massive. But once again, just like me, has A division moving over. I think Group B was exactly the same, and Group C, only Gen G was correct. Only that. Gen G, Paper X both in qualifying, yes, but not the other way around. If it was the other way around, that would be massive. I think the simulation gained a lot of points here in the play-ins. I don't know actually how much points the play-ins actually did. I'm guessing it was maybe like 10 points, maybe. I'm not really too sure, but had 2 correct, other than the 1 correct that I got. Team Secret and Zeta Division, that was correct, and Gen G versus Zeta. The Team Secret and Gen G one, that was incorrect. That was one I got. And the playoffs was exactly the same as well. Paper X moving over, and that's all the points that they got. So for Masters Madrid, as you can just see, or right here actually, Gen G and Paper X are the only 2 teams who basically have been confirmed or qualified from their respective kickoffs to be in Masters Madrid. And we'll obviously have to wait and see how Americas, China, and EMEA go, because it's getting pretty interesting there. So now I'd like you now guys to like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me, especially on this channel. I will be covering Americas, China, and EMEA group stages as well when they finish in a separate video. So that's really better for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.